How's it going? Merry Christmas, and let's talk about the games happened on Christmas Day. We have 5 games slate. Good thing is no games got canceled. The first game is the Atlanta Hawks play at the Knicks. It was supposed to have Trae Young in it. Last year there was some drama with in the playoff with the Knicks. Between the Knicks fans and Trae Young. Obviously Trae Young didn't play this game. And this game wasn't really close. Atlanta Hawks, they got a lot of injuries going on, a lot of COVID. Kevin Huerter was also out. Delon Wright, like I said earlier, he's a must roster. Trey, when is Trey coming back? He's gonna be out for a game or two. So Delon Wright next week, first couple of games is a must roster, a must stream. If you got enough streaming spots, of course, or waiver wire pickups. Bogdanovic, this second game back and he's back into 4 minutes. Also, if he's out there on the waiver wire, you got to pick him up 35 minutes here. Obviously, it's going to take him some time to ramp up and put up some solid stats. And he may never put up the numbers he was putting up last year. But it's worth a flyer. Clint Capella, 28 minutes, not the best game, 2 for 6 from the free throw line. He'll be better than this. And again, like Delon Wright and Cam Reddish is another guy. Struggle shooting the ball. He went off last game. This game not so much. 2 steals. Still had 2 steals and 6 rebounds. While John Collins was inefficient from the field, had 2 blocks. But John Collins, being healthy all season, can't complain too much. He's a top 50 player for me in category leagues. For the New York Knicks, changes the guards rotation just keep changing. Kemba Walker has had a great week so far. Played 40 minutes here. And now Alec Burks is off the bench now. So I would hold Alec Burks for a few more games just to see what happens. If he gets 20 minutes a night, obviously he's a drop. But again, in 2 weeks or so, Kemba could just, go back playing 0 minutes. I don't think that will be the case because Derrick Rose is going to be out for a long time. And Emmanuel Quickley is still out, but I don't think Emmanuel Quickley is going to take Kemba Walker's minutes. So Kemba, congratulations if you picked him up. I think he's going to be pretty big in the next however many weeks. Derrick Rose is projected to be out 8 weeks. 8 weeks from now, we're almost at the fantasy playoffs. And who knows? So I think Kemba should have good value the rest of the season. And if somebody trying to sell high him, you could buy it. Throw him like, top 70, 80 player. If people think Kemba will lose minutes. But with D Rose out, it's hard for me to see a situation where he gets 0 minutes. Maybe he'll come off the bench if he's not playing so well. He still get 20 to 25 minutes. Mitchell Robinson started because Lawrence Noel was placing to the safety protocol, had 5 blocks. This is why we love him. Only thing is, he hasn't really been blocking that many shots this year. Randall had an alright game, 25 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. 1 for 4 from the free throw. This is the Randall we know. And in the last 2 weeks, 126 ranked player. Probably maybe a sell, maybe a buy low. I think it will be hard to execute. But this is the worry with Julius Randle is that the counting stats look good. Points, rebounds, assists. Everything else is up and down. RJ came back. He's not really fantasy relevant. And let's talk about the next game. The Celtics had a pretty big lead in the first half versus the Bucks. And of course, the Bucks came back. That's the story. That's been the story with Celtics this season. After this game, where are they at now? They are, Cavaliers. They've been so good, 19-13 now. Celtics, they're the 9th seed. I don't think they're gonna fall out of. At least they should make the play-ins at least. But it's crazy to think 2 years ago they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they are one of those teams up and coming because the core, all the guys are pretty young. Still pretty young, at the time. But Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the stats wise, they've been putting up pretty good counting stats, but team is not winning. Tatum played 40 minutes, didn't shoot the ball well. What else is new? But 9 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks is pretty solid. Fantasy-wise, Tatum has been back. Robert Williams also huge with Al Horford out. If you want to sell high on this guy, because he's going to be inconsistent, you could sell him now. with Al Horford out. Try to get him for a top 40, 50 player. Otherwise, I would just hold. If the blocks are coming in, he could be a top, like per game basis wise, he could be a top 25, 30 player. Average, 2.5 blocks a game. The playing time is obviously, without Al Horford, playing time is huge. Jaylen Brown, same thing. Pretty identical stats to Tatum, except he got a fewer rebounds. I'm not a big fan of Jaylen Brown this year because he's been out for so long, have the hamstring issues. It could just happen again, and he will be out for a long time, and he won't be 100%. I just worry that he's gonna pull it again. So if you can get equal value back for Brown, I think top 30, top 35, I would try to do those things. If not, it's okay, just hold. And Marcus Smart also huge minutes. 40 minutes. He's been an Iron Man. 40 minutes, 7 assists, 19 points is all right. And with a lot of guys out, Dennis Schroeder was out. Peyton Pritchard came in, played 30 minutes. I don't think he gets consistent 30 minutes. And Joe Johnson gets a DNP. And oh wow, they also signed Aminu. The guy was a couple years ago was an all right fantasy player, grab a lot of rebounds and defensive stats. It's interesting to see he making an appearance on this Celtics team. Jabari Parker even came in and played 12 minutes. For the Milwaukee Bucks, they got Giannis Antetokounmpo back. Of course, it's Christmas game. And it didn't look like Giannis was affected too much. Played 30 minutes, had 4 personal fouls. Otherwise, the minutes would have been higher. 36 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Nice, solid numbers all around. Chris Middleton, it's been ramping up more and more. 36 minutes here. A pretty much a Chris Middleton game. And Jrue Holiday, the defensive stats are coming in. Jrue Holiday, in the beginning of the season, was a huge buy low. In the last 2 weeks, he's a 25th ranked player. I would say he's back. 23 points, 7 assists, and 2.3 steals. 2.3 steals is a bit high, but in 2 weeks, it's not too crazy. Some bi-weekly period, he'll get over 2 steals a game. Just 0.1 blocks. On a per game basis, I think he's a top 30, 35 player. He's so good in category leagues. This game, really, really good. A blocked a shot as well. Grayson Allen, 25 minutes. Didn't really do anything. I think we could move on from him. And Dante DiVincenzo that might be his first game of the season. It's interesting because is he gonna eventually start and get 30 minutes? If that happens, I think we could potentially look to pick him up, but we're not there yet. I know he's a pretty good steals guy, really, really efficient player. In category leagues, if you care about the efficiencies, he could be really good on your team. But it's wait and see. He's been out for so long. I don't know if you get up to 30 minutes. And, Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton, these two guys used to get 30 minutes. And this game, Bobby Portis, I guess it was the first game back. But DeMarcus Cousins started again. Played just 17 minutes with 4 fouls. I think it wasn't for the 4 fouls, so Cousins might be getting 20 to 25 minutes. So that means he's sharing minutes with Bobby Portis. That's really not good for Bobby's value. He's been super, super good with before the COVID. Like a top 50 player, getting a bunch of defensive stats, grabbing a lot of rebounds. We don't drop him yet. But it's interesting that maybe it's just the first game back. They will start Bobby Portis and give DeMarcus Cousins 15 minutes a night. And Pat Connaughton, same thing. He was getting huge minutes. Played just 17 minutes here. With Dante DiVincenzo back, eating into a lot of his minutes. I think we can move on from Pat Connaughton, to be honest, after this game. It's all right. The next game is the top 2 teams. This game, what's crazy is the Phoenix Suns were favored by 6 points. I thought it was, if you want to bet on the games, it would have been a good bet. It was at Phoenix, but -6. Warriors got the win, 116-107. Steph Curry, 37 minutes. He hasn't been shooting the ball well. Counting stats look really good. 5 threes, 33 points, 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Curry's been, a bit underwhelming well, 83. Well, that's Seth Curry, 11th ranked player in the last 2 weeks, and shooting just 44% on the season. He's still the first ranked player, averaging 28 points, 1.6 steals is really good, 0.5 blocks. So the defensive department, Curry has been doing it pretty well. 43% for Curry is pretty low. But I would still take Jokic over Curry. So after games like this, if you want to do that trade, but again, it depends on your team build. I think it's just so much easier in category leagues to build your team around Jokic than Curry. So you take a look at your team. If you got Jokic or Curry, maybe if you got Curry and you try to trade for Jokic, that's something I'll be looking to do. Gary Payton Jr. with Jordan Poole out, he's been getting huge minutes. We know he's a really, really good steals guy. He had 1 steal here and 8 rebounds. Really efficient from the field, hit 2 threes. Pretty good line across the board. We could have him until Jordan Poole comes back. Same thing with Otto Porter Jr. We could have him until Andrew Wiggins comes back. Play 30 minutes, 1 steal, 6 rebounds. This is pretty. This is Washington Wizards Otto Porter. Hit threes, doesn't turn the ball over, get some defensive stats, grab rebounds. Really, really efficient. He did all that. Draymond Green has been He's been ramping up. He's been scary lately, especially the defensive stats. He is in the last 2 weeks. He's just the 42nd ranked player, but averaging 1.3 steals. That's not too crazy, but 2 blocks is. He wasn't really blocking a lot of shots to start off the season. Now he is. He's blocking averaging 2 shots on the season. Where is he at? Still the 69th ranked player. And Draymond Green is such a unique fantasy player. If you pound him points and threes, all of a sudden he become like a top 10, top 15 player. So I think when you draft Draymond Green in the years to come, maybe you could pound. Maybe you just have to pound one or 2 categories and then take him in the 4th or 5th round. If you take him there, you're actually getting like 1st, 2nd round value based on your team build. He did it all here: 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. Really good stuff from Draymond. I think for Draymond, it's about whenever the Warriors are playing a marquee matchups like the Phoenix Suns, he's going extra hard, going extra mile. So the defensive stats show it. Some games versus some shitty teams, he won't turn it on, and obviously defensive stats won't be there. Kevon Looney also played huge minutes, but let's not worry about him. The rest of the guys, Jonathan Kuminga had 1 huge game, but now he's coming off the bench playing 20 minutes. Guys like Damian Lee was also out, which is why Gary Payton's second. In the next game or 2, could continue to get huge minutes like this. A good streaming option. For the Phoenix Suns, they've been fairly healthy. Nobody on the team was placed into the COVID protocol. I think Oklahoma City Thunder is another team that I could think of. Like nobody was placed into the protocol, and then Phoenix Suns. Mikal Bridges, 37 huge minutes, had an alright game, 3-3, 17 points, 6 rebounds, and a steal. Jay Crowder, he's up and down, we know that. Pretty bad. Could continue to be a streamer for the rest of the season. The minutes is pretty consistent. The production is not. DeAndre Ayton, another great game. 7 rebounds, a steal and a block, 18 points. DeAndre's stats gotta be one of the most consistent players in the league in fantasy. Every single game you look at it, 10 rebounds, only 7. 17, 18 points, 10 rebounds, a steal and a block, something like that. Pretty consistent guy. Pretty good. Devin Booker played 40 minutes. I worry about his hamstrings. Maybe he rested well. Maybe he's out of the woods. No worries, healthy. Can play 35 minutes a night. No worries. 13 points, just the 3 assists, 2 steals. Not the best game from him. While Chris Paul, the guy, whenever he plays, he's just a top 20, top 25 player. In this year's case, he's even better than that. And amazingly, has not missed a game. Amazingly. Seriously. So this is his 2nd year with the Phoenix Suns. The year when he was with Oklahoma City Thunder, he also was fairly healthy. But all the years before that, his Rockets years, he always get hurt. Always get hurt. The last 3 years, I don't know what he did. I don't know if he's on drugs. He just doesn't get hurt. Crazy. 21 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Super, super efficient. Um, really, really good stuff. And Cameron Payne, who has been playing fairly well, played just 18 minutes here. I think on a Christmas day, you just don't expect him to get huge minutes. If you got him, you love what he brings. He brings solid assist steals and some, a little bit of everything. He's a guy that could contribute across all the categories, and his minutes has been trending up. This game had he struggled this game, so maybe next game he'll get back to 25 minutes. We'll see. Cameron Johnson, 20 minutes. Now that everybody is back and healthy, I think we could move on from him. With Devin Booker out, he was a good stream. Let's talk about the next game, the Brooklyn Nets. This game was, both teams struggled for different reasons in the past weeks. The Nets, because everybody was out due to COVID protocol, and Kyrie obviously making his return for away games. Lakers, they struggle for different reasons. Harden, you got to play for the Christmas game. Struggled a little bit from the field, from the free throw line also. But the counting stack from Harden, 3 threes, triple-double, still at 3 blocks. He's a guy that could do it all. On the season, right? Despite, he's the 9th ranked player. But again, if you ignore the turnovers, he's top 5 pretty comfortably. Patty Mills keep going off, 34 points here. Patty Mills is really good sell high. Kyrie's gonna be back for away games. KD's gonna be back. We think at some point Joe Harris got to be back. 34 points here is really good. 7 assists and a steal. Trying to sell him. His value is running out. Nick Claxton, 5 blocks. We don't know what's gonna happen when Eldridge comes back. Is he gonna start? I think if Kyrie is in the lineup, it would make more sense for Claxton, for like a defender to start, because they already have enough firepower. But we don't know. The lineup, Steve Nash is making a bunch of lineup changes. We don't know what's going to happen. For now, I think if you need some blocks and rebounds, he's a guy you could have. Right? 5 blocks here. DeAndre Bembry and Bruce Brown, they're kind of similar players. They both had a decent game here. But the Nets schedule not. If they have a great schedule, 3 games in 4 days, you could stream some of those guys, because they provide a pretty diverse categories. Blake Griffin came off the bench, played just 10 minutes, while James Johnson, DeAndre Bembry, Bruce Brown, their roles on this team pretty straightforward. Take open shots, come in and defend. So their fantasy games should all be pretty similar. For the LA Lakers, what a mess. LeBron played 40 minutes. I really would try to sell LeBron high. I think he's going to get injured again. Playing 40 minutes a night. He is the 3rd ranked player. If you can get Jimmy Butler, LaMelo Ball, Karl Anthony Towns, maybe not Joel Embiid, because he also gets hurt, James Harden, right? These 5 guys, I think they all should have more value than LeBron James for the rest of the season. But it's crazy. Whenever LeBron plays this year, he's been putting up really good numbers. And that just tells you, especially the defensive stats, LeBron is trying pretty hard. The Lakers are struggling. So you have that going if you own LeBron, you have that going for you, is that the Lakers are struggling pretty hard and LeBron is going hard every single game, putting up pretty good big numbers. LeBron is like, hey, if I'm not going to win, might as well break out the record, right? Average 27 points. Crazy. 1.7 steals for LeBron and 1 block. This is almost Miami Heat LeBron numbers. Almost. And he's shooting the free throw pretty well as well. 78%, 77.6. Not low 70s like he was in the years in the past. But yeah, great stuff. Taylor Horton Tucker got 30 minutes. 14 points, but nothing else. He's a guy we could look to stream. AD is going to be out, so Carmelo Anthony should get a few more minutes. Dwight Howard didn't really play huge minutes, so same thing with Wayne Allenton, just doesn't provide a lot of defensive doesn't provide any peripheral stats. And they keep starting them. They keep starting Wayne Ellington, but guys coming off the bench get way more minutes. Russell Westbrook, a triple double, 5 personal fouls. Well, if you look at the plus minus this game, Russell Westbrook played 36 minutes, while LeBron played 9. Oh, sorry, LeBron played 39, and the plus minus are really tells the story in this game. They gotta figure out. LeBron can't keep going like this all season. Malik Monk, 35 minutes, had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. Pretty good. Heyman Carmelo Anthony is a guy that we could look to stream. Same thing with Taylor Horton Tucker. These 3 guys, their minutes gonna be up and down. But on most nights, they should be getting 25 plus minutes here. Carmelo had a really good game. 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Really good from Carmelo. They got a bunch of guys: Rondo, Isaiah Thomas, DeAndre Jordan. The Lakers rotation, I don't know how many lineups they have tried. It's a revolving door. Everybody coming in. Stanley Johnson out of nowhere played 27 minutes. Next game, we could see Isaiah Thomas coming and play 20. Or DeAndre Jordan starting, play 15 minutes. Or Rondo coming play 20. So the Lakers rotation is a mess. It's hard to in fantasy, but Taylor Horton Tucker and Carmelo, I think, are safer streams. Especially they got a good schedule coming up. And the last game of the Christmas Day is the Dallas Mavericks losing to the Utah Jazz. Dorian Finney-Smith was out, but it's not due to COVID, so we don't know when he's coming back. He's been playing fairly well. So let's check his status. If he's out again, we could maybe drop him. Kristaps Porzingis came back. He's another guy that's in and out of the lineup so much. How many games has he already missed? We don't know. But every time he plays, he put up great numbers. Doncic was placed into the safety protocol, so he's going to be out for a while. So in the short term, Porzingis is going to have some huge usage. Really good game here. Jaylen Brown, we got to try to sell this guy. In the last 2 weeks, he's been pretty insane. Or is it? Just the 91st ranked player in the last 2 weeks. But the counting is at 21 points, 7 assists. One big thing is he's only shooting 75% from the free throw line. He should be 80 plus. Only turning the ball 2 times a game. Because the defensive stats are not there, so his ranking is pretty low. But I'll look to try to sell him high. This game, 27 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals. He's not gonna do this when Doncic comes back. We still want to roster him, but not like this. And with all the guys out, really nobody really benefited, that much. We have Freddie Nakina. I didn't even know he was on the Mavericks coming. I know he's a really good defender. Can get a bunch of steals. He has some insane wingspan. But, nobody that we really want to pick up with all the guys out other than, Jaylen Brown and Dorian Finney-Smith. Both guys are probably rostered already. All the rest of the guys, the minutes are up and down, and even when given the minutes, they don't have consistent production. So let's look at the Utah Jazz. Bojan Bogdanovic had 5 personal fouls. That's why he played just the 25 minutes, but that's enough for him to have 25 points and 4 threes. Don't really expect anything much from Bogdanovic. Royce O'Neal. The minutes, just the 29 minutes. The Jazz has 4 games next week, so we could maybe look to stream him. But the minutes has a bit being below for him. He did have 4 personal fouls. So let's see. Rudy Gobert, great game. 11 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. 10 points. Donovan Mitchell also 3 steals. He had some back issues this game. He was in and out of the game. So we'll see if he's gonna miss any games. He played through it. He was pretty bad. Minus 18 this game. But somehow they got the win because the bench, Joe Ingles was a plus 24. Jordan Clarkson was a plus 22. So we'll see. Check his status. Maybe just take it easy, rest for 1 game and come back instead of trying to play through it and then get injured and out for a long period of time. Mike Conley, if Donovan Mitchell does end up missing games, Mike Conley Joe Ingles maybe also pick up Mike Conley pretty good, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Nice game from Mike Conley. Joe Ingles is pretty washed at this point. There were some trade rumors that hey, maybe they want to move Joe Ingles. It's his last year. If Joe Ingles does get moved, Rudy Gay all of a sudden become very interesting. Give Rudy Gay 30 minutes. He's a pretty good fantasy player. Um, him and Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench together provide that offense. But for now, it's wait and see. That's it for all the games. I will see you guys tomorrow.